Welcome to Design Mind, the reality series that is actually real, where we bring you the fun and frustrations of residential architecture. So here we are on site at a new project. It's a detached garage in the rear yard of a residence. What we have is a family that is growing out of the house, meaning we've got teenagers who bring their friends over every weekend and there's no place for them to party. And so mom is like, the house no longer meets my needs. I need a place to put these kids so they're not just invading the house all the time. Since we don't have a basement, we don't have a bonus room anywhere, what do we do? And then we've got some other married children that are coming back between semesters at college and living at home. And once again, it's like, what do we do with the kids? They need their own space. I need my own space. You can only have too many, so many people in a kitchen. So here we are. I've been hired to help this family turn a detached garage into something that will benefit their family forever. So to start off the project, we're going to look at the things that we have to look at the beginning of every project. The three aspects of the site: the utilities, the legal aspects, meaning the municipality requirements, and the general site conditions. So as we've walked around the site, we're going to be putting this garage right where the electricity comes in, the gas comes in from the other side we discovered. So we've done a little preliminary research here, and the cable lines look like they're going to be going like right through where this building needs to go. But we do have everything in line, and it looks like it's going to be smooth sailing. In terms of the site conditions, this sits in the backyard of a house, and so there aren't really a lot of views to take advantage of. And then site conditions, north, south, east, west, since it's in the backyard, the site constraints are so restrictive, there isn't a lot we can do with it. And so we've got what we've got. Municipality requirements. Okay, at the beginning of every project, remember to check on the zoning requirements that your municipality has. Absolutely critical, because they affect everything. For instance, setbacks. On this particular project, we'll go through them and show you exactly how everything is going to come together. But there's a lot of restrictions, and know what they are. What does this family want? They want me to design for them a freaking awesome place to have parties above a garage where they can put more stuff, because it seems like no matter what, we all just want more stuff and places to put more stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. So what the family wants: an awesome bonus room where we can have some ping pong pool, a little kitchenette, but we discovered in our municipality stuff that we can't put a kitchenette. We actually have to do a full kitchen because it has to be a detached accessory apartment. And so now we have to put a bedroom in it, a kitchen, bathroom, probably 2 bathrooms, one upstairs, one downstairs. So it evolved from just a detached garage with a bonus room to a full 1,200 square foot house. What do you do? So here's how we begin every project. Get the site, the topo, which is topography survey, and the site conditions, and then we just start pulling out our fattest pen and let's start looking at stuff. So what I have here is I have an overlay of the Google Earth imagery under the topography survey provided by a surveyor. So if I reduce the opacity of that and that, what this will give me is something that I can actually draw on. So here we are. Let's look at the site conditions. All right, let's look at the site conditions here. What we have is we have a house that sat on 2 parcels, two lots. Those lots got reconfigured so that the house sits on only 1 lot. However, there's an easement for this house, so it can use this part of this other lot for the driveway. Which means, so this is the actual property line. Once we looked up the city requirements, we found out that you have to be 5 feet away from the property line for your setback for your accessory building. You also have to be 5 feet away from this property line. We have to be 12 feet away from the house. So as we're looking at where we can even put this thing, that's the first thing we're looking at is where can we put this? We can put this garage right here, but then you begin to look at the end of this property. You're like, how do you even pull into this garage? That's going to be super tight. That's not even possible. And so what we may have to do is extend this driveway out a little bit so that we can actually get in to the garage and pull in and out just like that. So that'll be one thing that we need to consider. That's a very important site condition. All of the utilities exist right here and are coming through the backyard just like that. And so we know we have utilities, but we'll have to deal with them during excavation. And there's no view, so we don't really need to really consider the view since it's in the backyard and there's a bunch of trees and houses and things. So really what we've got to deal with is the 5-foot setbacks, the 12-foot setback, and then our limitation of square footage that's dictated by the city for an accessory apartment, and stay within that. And then now we can start moving. So if this is where one more thing is we can put porches and stairs 3 feet within that setback, so they can be 2 feet away from the property line. And that may help us. We'll find out. So, as we begin, it would make the most sense to do a rectangular box that doesn't take up too much of the backyard, right? So they still want some backyard. And right now you can see with the topo lines, this backyard slopes pretty substantially. And the owner did say they would like to flatten out the backyard. One of the issues that the owner also knows about this land is that you have about 18 inches of topsoil sitting right on top of bedrock, which is problematic. When you're dealing with bedrock, you have to, in order to excavate, you have to bring in a hammer hoe, and it just increases a lot of cost, right? And so, as we're looking at the design, there's not much of a garage that we can fit in this space, and so the issue becomes, what if we did this in order to maximize the living area within this new thing? If we do that, this part has to be a flat roof, because you don't have these angles and do something that's not a flat roof. That's a pretty substantial design commitment if we decide to go that direction. However, we may do that because the owner said that eventually they want to take this house, take it out 10 more feet, and put on a porch and make this house look very traditional, very classical, very Georgian, and then cover this back patio. And when we do that, then if this building is already stylistically Georgian, then everything will match and be perfectly okay. So that is the direction that we're going to go stylistically, which actually does allow us to do a flat roof, because we'll have a parapet wall, flat roof, and we'll recommend the idea of putting a rooftop garden up there, because the owner has lamented that they can't plant anything because there's too many deer in the neighborhood. So if we put a garden up on the roof, then we don't have to worry about the deer and the rabbits. So what we'll have to do is get a garage door in here, and somehow access this way, garage door this way, and access this apartment through this way, probably. Those are our general site conditions, the weird shape of what we might be dealing with, and what to start looking at. We'll have to get stairs to a second floor. We've also learned that there's a height restriction that says this accessory cannot be taller than, the accessory building can't be taller than the existing house. That's cool. We can manage that. So with these things, what we're going to do is we're going to start into a little more involved schematic design. We've looked at the overall site, what to do. Now get inside my head. What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about kitchen, bedroom, great room, getting a garage in there that doesn't need to be huge, but large enough that they can store a bunch of other stuff like a second car, their lawn mowers and garden equipment, some tools and that type of stuff, and get a ramp from here to here, from the driveway to the backyard, so you no longer have to go around the front. Right now there was a wall, and we're going to make a ramp. And let's look at this house and see how we can turn this into something, shall we? So when you begin designing, it's always a good thing, a good idea to start with your bigger size pens. Don't start with a pencil with a super sharp point, because it gets you thinking about things too detailed before you need to. And so if I'm trying to get these lines perpendicular, and since the drawing's a little cattywampus, that's what we get to deal with. And the owner also said when they remodel, they want this to be the exit out the back of the house. And so if we put the door right there, that would make sense. Get some stairs that go up and do some sort of little garden wall that would return down, and we could put some shrubs and plants down there, a ramp that goes up, a garage door right here for a single car garage. Then I think, what would be interesting is if we actually give them a porch on the front side, and we just need to make sure that that's 3 feet away, since you can put porches within 3 feet of the setback. And now what on earth to do with this shape? Well, when we're looking at garages, let's just regularize it, right? So if we make this a minimum of 21 feet, that's kind of your minimum size for a decent garage. And then you can pull in a bunch of other stuff. So if this is 12 feet wide, then we've got enough space in there that we can pull a car in, and we can put all of our tools, equipment, and have a little workshop of sorts. So that leaves me with this area to deal with. So if I were to, let's go upstairs real fast. And if we were to replicate this wall upstairs, when you're looking at Georgian architecture, it's pretty simple. Very simple forms, very organized, ordered exteriors, and all the details are in the classical details, which we can do. So upstairs, it's just going to be a great room. We need to get upstairs somewhere, and so it would probably be best if we just throw the stairs in this area. And if we have a porch out here, then we'd probably want some sort of some nice door and some windows. And so we're looking at, what I'm doing is I'm considering the facade right now, what the facade could be looking like, and just marking up, just doing some big fat marker lines and trying to do, okay, these are my center lines, and we begin to refine this all later. And if we do some sort of kitchenette or something up there, that's a possibility, or the kitchen up here or something. And we want to be able to access the roof somehow. We'll have to think about that another time. But this is essentially going to be a great room, but the shape is so weird. What we might want to do is regularize this shape by squaring it off and then jogging it and turning it into different rooms. So if we square it off like that and that, what that will do is it'll give us a squared room here and a squared room here. And as we have two squared rooms, one can be like for games, like pool table, ping pong table, that type of stuff, and one could be movie, like this could be the movie wall, and we could set up a sofa system right here looking at that way, and we could pocket a bathroom back in here, which would be fine, and we could actually, this would be a good place for storage, table storage, extra storage, And so in the schematic design phase, what we're going to do is just lay this out, and I'll give this to a drafter, and he'll draft this up and turn it into a model that I can start looking at. Oh, no, not totally. So if we look at the main floor again, if we got stairs that go up right here, I need utilities in here somewhere. Might as well put them as close to that side as I can, so I'm closer to the house than further away from the house. I can probably put a kitchen in here, but depending on what the grade actually looks like, I may or may not need stairs to go down, and I can probably throw a bedroom in this area or make that storage and or a bedroom, multi-purpose usage, depending on the needs. So what we're going to do is we're going to send all this drawing, this very basic, simple drawing, and give our drafter the site constraints, right? And overall dimensions, what we're expecting, gonna give us something. And then we'll take a look at it in the next phase. All right, welcome back, everybody. We got quite an involved thing back from the drafter. I gave him enough information and said, keep going with this, keep going with this. I want a really ordered facade, blah, 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 and got me together a model. And let's take a look at how this is shaping up. So we've got stairs that are going up. We've got a bathroom on the main floor that's underneath the stairs. Those are always a great place to put bathrooms, provided you have the head height. So always make sure you have the head clearances you need. And then a small kitchen in here. And then this could turn into a bedroom or remain storage. And this is a detached garage. I hate this jog. This is stupid. But I'm not entirely sure what to do about it just yet, because we have to access the bathroom where we have to access it depending on the stair. And let's look at the little 3D model, because when you use this program now, Revit, it's pretty good because it gives you kind of a 3D representation of what this thing could actually be like. And so it's a pretty decent schematic design model. And look at that. So we're going to be putting together kind of a courtyard thing, and this is how our drafter decided to resolve the stair issue to go up to this rooftop garden. So this is what we got to pitch. And so we have a balcony that overlooks a backyard, which will flatten out, some potential columns that will go in a covered roof area, and a doorway with some stairs that go up, and then a covered patio, which will be really nice. And then we're going to go find a really nice, beautiful, classical door surround, a decent sized garage, and some very simple windows, probably like 3050 or 2650 windows, with a French door. I mean, it's a simple structure, really a simple structure. And when you're looking at it from down here, it doesn't look completely idiotic, because you can't tell that the shape is totally wonky. And there's enough trees existing all along this area on this north side of the building that you won't even be able to see that side of the building anyway, because there's so many evergreen trees. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with where this is going. So what we're going to do is do a little critique. So when I get something like this back, what I'm interested in. So when I get something like this back, what I'm interested in is the spaces and the flow. I'm looking at furniture arrangements. I'm looking at interior, how it feels from the interior. I'm looking at the exterior. And so we're looking at plan, section, and elevation, not just plan. We're looking at all of them to make sure that the whole thing will flow at this stage. Because if you start off wrong, you're going to end wrong. And since the client has a hot tub in the back, need a little changing room, they figured the downstairs bathroom could be for the boys and the upstairs could be for the girls or something like that. And that way, you know how you are, boys and girls using the same bathroom. If you had teenagers fighting over it, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. So, storage room, that works. A door that goes out, that works. All these things actually work. We probably need a wall right here. I'd like to figure out how to define this room a little bit better, but it's not critical. And that would be open to below. Right here would actually be a really nice place to put a bookshelf or something rather than a railing, but a little storage thing. And overall, I think it's coming together fairly nicely. Ignore this. That's just no floor. The floor doesn't go all the way through. Okay. So that's pretty quick. Oh, one of the really cool things that we could probably do is in this planter bed that goes down the side of this is we can probably string up some wires and plant a vine down here and get this to be a beautiful covered walkway. That would be neat. Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be good. So as we're looking at this, the concerns that I'm looking at with this flat roof is how on earth am I going to drain this thing? So that is something I need to consider right now, and I'm looking at it and just my experience says, oh yeah, this can drain pretty easy. But we need to be thinking about it right now so when we get into the next phase of construction documents, it'll actually work. Because that sucks when you get the construction documents and you're working through stuff and it doesn't actually work. But I think from this facade, it looks nice. From the side, it looks nice. From the front, it looks nice. And since this is the backyard, right against the fence line, we honestly don't even care what that looks like. It's kind of the alley, as it were, and it can receive the back end. So from the other sides, I think we're making progress. And only in a flat roof would you ever do some funky weird shape like this. One very important thing to address right now is the topography of the site and wanting to flatten this backyard out because it slopes like 3.5 feet in a pretty short period of time, so it's fairly unusable. And so once we actually cut a section through this trying to figure out what this topography actually looks like and how it slopes, this is the beginnings of a section cut on how things might be shaping up. This is a weird condition. We wouldn't actually do that with a little retaining wall. We want the base of the column to be showing, not be behind a little wall like that. And this obviously would go down to the bottom. We don't know if it's going to be a crawl space or not. You discover these things in excavation, and so oftentimes your construction documents, particularly when it comes to foundation walls, aren't exactly what the site conditions permit because we don't dig holes through the ground before we get to construction documents most often. So anyway, it is very important at the beginning to consider the topography and site conditions. And we'll have to fix this wall and line them up. Anyway, I think it's moving along. Let's go see what the owner has to say. So in summary, what did we cover this episode? We looked at the site, we looked at the site conditions, the site constraints, did a little schematic design and how everything would fit together and why we did a weird shaped building rather than just doing something more square and boxy, and when you would want to do that, when you wouldn't want to do that, and how we got to where we are right now. So we will keep moving along with this project and see you next time.